The moment my truck rolled onto the gravel driveway, she was already standing there, arms crossed, lips curled like she owned the entire road. "You can't be here! This land belongs to the HOA!" she snapped, waving a stack of papers like a weapon. I didn't even step out before she shouted again, "Trespassing! Leave before I call the cops!" My chest tightened, not from fear, but from anger. This wasn't just any land. This was my grandfather's ranch, the place he left me after working his whole life. I finally pushed open the door and said, calm but sharp, "Karen, this is mine now. Every inch of it." Her face turned red, and she shoved the papers against my chest, fake notices with a big HOA stamp. "Not anymore. You're under the HOA's authority now, and I decide who stays." I almost laughed, but the sight of her pulling out her phone with trembling fingers stopped me. "I'm calling the police. You'll be dragged off this property today." She had no idea. The real owner wasn't just standing here. He was her new landlord. Her voice echoed across the quiet ranch as she barked into her phone, pacing back and forth like a guard dog. "Yes, officer. We've got a trespasser refusing to leave. Send someone quick." She glanced at me with a smug smile, as if she had already won. I leaned against my truck, arms folded, letting her finish her little performance. Minutes later, a patrol car rolled up, tires crunching against the gravel.
Karen's silence didn't last long. Her face twisted, and she stomped closer, jabbing her finger toward me. No, you don't understand. This land is under the HOA, which means I run it. He can wave around his little papers all he wants, but he still answers to me." The officer raised an eyebrow, clearly irritated. "Ma'am, ownership deeds outrank HOA rules. This land isn't even registered under your association." Her eyes widened like she'd been slapped, but instead of backing down, she doubled her act. She snatched her phone again and dialed furiously. "If the local cops won't handle this, then I'll bring in the HOA security team. They know how to deal with squatters." I almost laughed at her desperation, but something about her words made me pause. HOA's security team? That didn't sound official. It sounded dangerous. Sure enough, within minutes, a black SUV rolled up the road, pulling hard into the driveway. Two men in cheap uniforms and dark sunglasses stepped out, walking with an authority they hadn't earned. Karen's whole mood changed. She stood tall and smirked like a queen with her knights. "There, see? Real enforcement. Take him off my property." The cop's hand went to his radio, cautious. "Who exactly are these guys?" he asked. Karen waved dismissively. "They're with us. HOA law is higher than your law." That's when I knew. This was about to get very, very messy. The so-called security team marched forward, and one of them barked, "Sir, you need to leave this property immediately or we'll remove you by force." His voice was rehearsed like he'd said it 100 times to scare people. The taller guard grabbed my arm, but before he could tighten his grip, I twisted free and stepped back, my voice sharp. "Touch me again and you'll regret it." The officer immediately barked, "Hands off him! You're not authorized to put a finger on this man." But Karen screamed over him, her voice cracking with desperation. "Do it! Drag him out! He doesn't belong here!" The second guard lunged toward me, but he froze when I pulled out a leather wallet from my back pocket. Not money, but an ID. The officer's eyes widened the moment he saw the badge glinting in the sunlight. "Wait, you're federal?" he muttered under his breath. Karen blinked, her face draining of color. I held the badge steady, my tone calm, but cutting. "Department of Justice. I don't just own this land, I make sure people like you face the law when they cross the line." The fake guards instantly stepped back, their confidence shattered. Karen staggered, clutching her fake notices like a shield. No, this can't be real. You're lying." The officer turned on her, his voice heavy with authority. "Ma'am, you just ordered fake cops to assault a federal agent on his own property. That's felony territory." For the first time, Karen looked scared. Not angry, not smug, but scared. And the neighbors who had quietly gathered along the fence had just witnessed everything.
The officer snapped the cuffs around Karen's wrists, and her shriek echoed across the ranch.
The patrol car door slammed shut, muffling Karen's desperate shouts, but her wild eyes stayed locked on me through the window as they drove her away. The neighbors lingered, buzzing with whispers, some shaking their heads, others almost relieved. One woman stepped forward, clutching her phone like a lifeline. "I got the whole thing recorded," she said. "The HOA board needs to see this." I gave her a nod, but my mind was sharper than ever. This wasn't just about one Karen. If she had the guts to pull something this big, it meant the entire HOA was rotten. Sure enough, as the crowd dispersed, another neighbor muttered, "She was bleeding us dry for years. Extra fees, fake rules. None of us could fight her." His words only confirmed what I already suspected. Karen wasn't just a nuisance. She was the head of a scam that thrived on fear. That night, as I sat on the porch of the ranch, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I answered, and a low voice said, "You made a mistake exposing her. You don't know who you're dealing with." Then the line went dead. I stared out into the dark fields, the crickets chirping like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. Karen might have been taken away in cuffs, but the fight wasn't over. The next morning, the sun rose over my grandfather's ranch, golden light spilling across the fields. I walked the property line, checking fences and gates, feeling the weight of ownership settle in my chest. Karen was gone, but the HOA's shadow still lingered. I had to be smart. Every inch of this land mattered, and every neighbor's trust now counted. A knock on the porch made me turn sharply. It was the older neighbor from before, holding a thick envelope. "This came for you," he said quietly. Inside were documents, financial records, HOA contracts, even proof of illegal manipulations Karen